Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And, so we're back. What's any new developments over the course of the past week, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think Chris and I talked about this already. We should get this out of the way right off the bat. I think just give the floor or the microphone to Sam for about, I don't know, how long are these podcasts? Usually an hour?
Yeah.
All right, for the next 55 minutes, Sam's going to talk about how disturbed he is after seeing we also did the new Ninja Turtles movie. The Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles.
And it seems
Jonathan
like Sam
Liebman directed.
Yeah, it seems like Sam was the most affected by it.
I straight up forgot that I saw it the next day. I was driving to work and I was like, man, I wonder how bad that Turtles movie is. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw it.
I know how bad it is.
And really quick, my little quick thing about it, which is really funny. It was a packed theater. Now, granted, the theater wasn't big. It was at the Centerville Multiplex, and they have the smaller theaters for movies that have been out for a while. This movie's been out for
and that theater
a while.
Hasn't been
I
packed
can't remember
for
the
years.
last time I've seen that movie packed, and I've been going to that theater since 1995.
Yeah,
and it's 2014 to give you guys an idea of what time it is, and
so about 20 years later.
Yeah. And so my first movie I saw there I think was Free Willy 2. But
Nice. I never actually saw Free Willy 2.
Neither did
yeah, you know, the story continues. And
Is he still free?
I think so. Well, he probably gets captured. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that one was about like hunters like hunting him.
Okay.
So
All
like
right.
now the
He's
Star Trek
free.
4 status.
Yes, it's the Star Trek 4 Free Willy sequels. and anyway,
Free Willy 2.
we get there. It's $5 on Tuesday. It's $5.50 to see it, which most people will tell you is still too expensive to see the Ninja Turtles movie.
Which is also the only reason why we saw it.
Yeah, I mean we
theaters.
planned this. It wasn't the stroke of luck, and we get there about 20 minutes before the movie starts, and it's not that packed. It's what I thought it was going to be the entire movie, but then like even as the movie's starting. Not just like a couple of people, like 2 or 3 people, like families with like a kindergarten-sized class of kids are like coming in, and like it's at the point where it's like a scattering of seats are available, and so we have our little row of us and our buddies who are there, and then like families were like being separated to fill the seats.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
And at one point, this little kid like sits next to me because it's there's one seat available open next to me, and then it's the
Aisle.
The aisle. Thank you, Sam. And I seriously was totally blanking on the word, so I would have been stumbling for the next couple minutes. It's a thing that you walk on that you don't sit on. And so this kid sat down, and he was like, couldn't have been older than like 7 because his feet couldn't even like go over the chair.
Very trusting parents to
and
just
then
plop him down right next to you.
And then he moved, and then they had like I think a girl, she must have been like 12, sat next to me, and I was like, oh, this might be cool, like. Kind of watch the movie through her eyes because she's not gonna be looking for all kinds of like movie crap that sometimes you just can't help but look at when you're older, whatever. And maybe I'll enjoy it more. I laughed more than she did in the movie, which is kind of
And you didn't laugh that much.
I didn't laugh that much, but it was weird. And so yeah, overall, the movie was pretty stupid. But like I said, I did laugh more than I thought I would, and I thought a majority of the Turtles kind of got their voices across. Johnny Knoxville I thought was good as Leonardo, and
Alan Richardson did a great job as Raphael.
And my favorite was always Raphael as a kid, and I think it was mostly like color based. Like red was my favorite color, so red was my favorite.
I was always
Power Ranger and Ninja Turtle.
I was always a big fan of Michelangelo and Leonardo. Leonardo because he was the leader and he had the coolest weapon,
and Michelangelo because he was a real party dude.
No, it's because he to kind of be right there with Jake. It's because he wore orange.
Yeah.
And I really liked orange. I had the orange Ghostbusters lunchbox.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But, I mean...
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Michelangelo because he was a party dude.
Oh, of course.
Right
of course.
on.
Right on.
I wasn't racist like you guys.
Colorist.
And, but yeah. And so, the movie was, stupid.
Bad. Chris, any thoughts before I rip this one a new asshole?
I will say, for all its flaws, of which there are many, I was surprised that they. I feel like they did a good job of really showing the individuality of all the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Like in as much as I love the original live action movies, from the early 90s.
Yes.
Like they seemed like for the most part they were all like the same person, and then but Michelangelo would say cowabunga more often, and Donatello would screw up saying Frere Jacques and stuff like that. And Raphael was always the angry one.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they were all just kind of... Yeah.
Ninja kick the damn rabbit.
Yeah. Like, they all had, like, buzzwords, but for the most part, like, they were all, like, the same turtle. Like, they could have been interchangeable. Whereas in this one, like, they were very distinct, individuals. So I will say...
I thought the CGI film did a good job of that, too.
It might have. I only saw it once, and I was more so trying to impress a girl with the fact that I worked at a movie theater and could watch a movie in the middle of the night when the theater wasn't open, so I wasn't really paying attention to the movie. Funny how we chose that one.
My quick thing, because we have to get all our stuff in before Sam starts ranting, because there's no stopping him. My favorite character in the Turtles...
We're just going to turn off our mics.
Yeah, exactly. And the Turtles was always Casey Jones, and he's nowhere to be found in this.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they would have really even fit him in this in the first place. But I'm hoping,
I
they
feel like
greenlit
a character like Casey Jones kind of needs to be introduced later on.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and another reason that I liked Raph is because like him and Raphael like have this bond friendship that kind of happens because they meet the first time as opposed to him meeting the other turtles until later.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, did you guys notice how like they're all like super jacked, but Donatello's like clearly the weakling? Like he doesn't have the muscle mass that the rest of them have.
He is the nerd.
Because he's the nerd, yeah.
He's also got the glasses that make him look like Shane Black from Predator.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have thought of that in a million years, but yes, when you brought that up, yes, he does.
Just like he smells.
Yeah, just like he smells, like Shane Black. The Predator.
From the Predator.
So anyway, largely stupid movie, but I thought there were some parts that were funny, and I didn't hate it as much as Sam.
Yeah, one thing that I do want to complain about real quick before Sam starts is that I hated the fact that it felt like the boss battle happened halfway through the movie, and maybe that's just because I grew up on the first live action movies where the boss battle was like kind of Splinter going up against the Shredder, and that happens halfway through the movie, and then kind of Shredder or Splinter just like never really comes back. And I mean they not like they just forgot to write him, like he is like mortally wounded and he can't do anything, but like I wish that they hadn't shot their load so quickly with that, because like Shredder's already there in his giant fucking Iron Man suit with all the big long knives and stuff like that, and he's fighting Splinter all out in a climactic type battle scene, and then an hour later there's another fight scene with the Shredder, and like he hasn't really done anything. Like you'd expect like them to be like, oh, okay, well this time his suit's even more jacked up, like he's advanced his suit or something like that, and there wasn't anything like that, and he was fighting 4 turtles on the rooftop, just like in the first movie. It was a rooftop battle, but this time with noxious fumes involved as well. But I just it felt weird. All right, Sam, you can take the floor now.
I mean, if you noticed, Chris, after the film, I had like a fucking migraine from that movie.
You did.
I was just like, fuck. My entire mind just kind of broke while watching that film. And, I tried to go in with a pretty open mind. I feel like we all tried, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just like, well...
It lost me at the comic book opening, because I was like, oh, okay, so you're trying to say that you're taking it like straight from the comic book, even though you're clearly not. Fuck off.
Yeah, though I will say it is closer to the cartoon than the original films were, with the turtle van showing up, and Mikey's got a rocket-powered skateboard and all that jazz.
No Krang, though.
No Krang. No Dimension X, though there's rumors that that's what the sequel's going to kind of bring in, that and like Bebop and Rocksteady and all that.
Casey Jones.
And Casey Jones, probably. But
hopefully.
So this fucking movie. So I walk in, and I'm like, this Ninja Turtles for a new generation. I'm seeing it for like $5. Let's just go in with an open.
Just let it happen.
Just let it flow over you. Just let it, just enjoy the ride. I didn't enjoy the ride. So like I think the moment that really, and this happens fairly early in the film, that really lost me. So April O'Neil, played by Megan Fox, is trying to prove that the turtles exist, and her rationale is like she shows her evidence to her boss, Whoopi Goldberg. The fact that it's Whoopi Goldberg is is just a detail. Like I could take it or leave Whoopi Goldberg as her boss. Probably actually I don't mind her as the boss. Anyway, so she comes in and she's like, she shows her all the evidence, and Whoopi Goldberg's like, this is nothing. This is nothing, O'Neill. And she's like, well, that's the point. That there's nothing. There's these vigilantes that stop the Foot Clan who get their name in this movie because they step over people.
That was probably also another spot where I lost it, because that happened in the same comic book opening where they were talking about the backstory of the Foot Clan. It's like, oh yeah, they're called the Foot Clan because they step over the little people, and I was like,
Ugh! So she's like, yeah, that's the point.
Everyone heard me groan when I read that too.
But that was the moment where Chris just dies in his seat. But so she's like, yeah, that's the point. That they leave nothing. They just have this like randomly scrawled like kanji. And it's like, well, this is all in Lower Manhattan, and like Chinatown's just like literally right fucking there. So maybe it's just some graffiti. And the fact that you're like,
it's Japanese, it's not Chinese. God.
But the fact that they leave nothing, that's what intrigues April O'Neil. And it's like, what the?
That's the story.
In the first movie, it's her sai, right?
Yeah, Raphael throws
she
it.
picks up Raphael's sai.
Yeah.
I will say in this movie, to bring some kind of positivity to it, I actually did like, not when they appear the first time, but the subway fight.
Yeah,
when you hear like Michelangelo, like whatever he said,
like a madman.
Yeah, and like they're just like throwing foot soldiers all over the place. Like I thought that part was actually cool.
So here's the thing.
Although that was 2 different subway stations. Just throwing that out there for someone that lived there.
If anyone didn't know by now, it's like 2 New York people and me who don't know anything about New York land.
Jake's out of the New York groove.
Yeah.
But
yeah, all the New York stuff I learned was from Ace Frehley's cover.
But that's the greatest song off that solo spat. But the
no,
well, the most successful.
That is true.
The like you guys were saying, the characterizations were fairly on point. Problem is, Mikey, he's still a party animal. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. But he's also, like, horny all the fucking time. And
weren't you when you were a teenager? Weren't you when you were a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Here's the thing, though. Like,
also, though, sorry. But, like, when they're, like, Megan Fox is, like, she sees the turtles, she's like, so you're a mutant and turtles and teenage, and like it's like this like broken puzzle way of coming up with teenage.
Even worse, before she repeats that back, like each one of them is like, yeah, we're turtles. Oh, by the way, we're mutants, and we're ninjas. And then Mikey just pops in, and we're like, and we're teenagers.
Like that's like the positive.
I do like the bat. He's using his Batman voice.
Yeah.
I've only watched that movie one time.
But yeah, so he's like macking on April. In the first.
I mean, to be fair, in Secret of the Ooze, when they're on the phone, like right after they found the courthouse subway station, he's like, "Hello." So there is a precedence for him being, romantically or amorously attracted to.
It was
April.
it was when it wasn't just Mikey. It was like all of them. Were like, "Oh, Legorama, swing." There was always that implication.
Sorry, the Legorama swing.
Yeah, it's from Turtles 3.
And he does like make out with the TV in the first one when he sees her on the news.
Oh, she's But it's so, the implications there, which is even then was weird, by the way, that these turtles would be like, oh yeah, they would just get their turtle parts.
Okay, I'm sorry, the people that prosecuted Swamp Thing's love interest in Swamp Thing.
Yeah, but
Grant Morrison keeps talking about.
That also has the consciousness of Alec Holland. So,
by the way, anyone that doesn't understand what I just said,
American Gothic by Alan Moore.
Yeah, just read that.
But classic Swamp Thing story, probably the greatest Swamp Thing story. Anyway, so so even though there had been a precedent, established that the turtles were romantically interested in April O'Neil, which was still weird. Like Mikey takes it to like really creeper levels. Like he won't give it a rest.
Like most teenage boys.
I suppose, but that doesn't make it right.
No.
And I was just like, dude, Mikey, just focus on go back to the pizza and the skateboarding.
I'm just saying, that is rape culture, Sam.
Well, fuck rape culture, man.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would hope.
I don't think we needed the Turtles movie to teach us that, though.
Yeah. Well, does it teach us that? It's played for laughs.
That's true.
So, maybe if Mikey had another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle who was a female,
You mean like the female Teenage
But
Mutant Ninja
it wasn't in the movie. So, anyway.
Yeah, so that was creepy. Not to mention whenever, like, Will Arnett's on screen, he's, like, macking on Megan Fox, too. And it's like, geez, come on.
That whole bit where he's driving down the snow mountain and he's just staring at her ass, and that causes him to almost crash and die. Well, definitely crash and almost die. Like, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's... And that kind of stuff happens in the Transformers movies, too, which was... I always found weird because, like, in the first film, Megan Fox is in high school, and in the fourth film, they're macking on Mark Wahlberg's daughter, who's definitely in high school, and it's just like, this is really weird, guys. Michael Bay, is there something you're trying to tell me? Do I need to call, like, Chris Hansen and have him, like, take a seat with you? Because this is starting to, like, creep me out, man. But, yeah, so that was, that was a point of contention for me. The design of Shredder, it's like they remembered that Shredder had a little bit of armor, like a scant bit of armor, and that he had claws, like not even Wolverine-sized claws, and they took that and they dialed it to fucking 11, because he basically puts on a Swiss Army knife Iron Man suit and fights the Turtles, and he's got, like, more blades than he knows what to do with.
And yet he still needs to recall them back.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry. They're projectile blades as well. They're not just slicey blades.
Yeah, he can fire them off.
And then they all apparently have a unique electromagnetic signature that he can recall them to come back to the same, like, positions
Slots,
on his suit.
Yeah, so that was really weird. And he doesn't really cut anything. I guess he kind of stabs Splinter at the end of their fight, but other than that, he's just, like, waving him around like an asshole. But it was a Turtles movie that wasn't made because somebody wanted to make a Ninja Turtles movie. It was a Ninja Turtles movie that was made because somebody could, and they did. And this is what we got. This kind of, like, really kind of just like the Transformers films for me, like this just corporate schlock.
The funny thing is that this movie's going to stick with Sam more than it'll stick with anyone who loved it. Like, I'll
be haunted by it.
Yes. And then the funny thing is, this is a spoiler, but in the end, Shredder takes some of the ooze, and it's, like, hinted that he'll be Super Shredder and stuff.
Yeah.
I told someone that, and they were like, whoa. He wasn't Super Shredder during the movie, like, from the trailer?
Yeah,
like,
how does he get more super?
No, that's normal Shredder.
Kevin Nash comes in.
Exactly. For 5 seconds and accidentally kills himself by knocking the dock over.
Yeah, Shredder, that always pissed me off as a kid, and it still pisses me off as an adult.
He was able to survive a dump truck crushing him as regular Shredder.
Oops.
Casey Jones. But he's not able to survive a dock falling on him by his own volition.
Yes.
As Super Shredder in his super updated Shredder suit.
Yeah, what happens? So how does the ooze make his suit part of him?
I'm gonna recall an argument that we had last night at Denny's over Superman's suit being invulnerable.
I was right there with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the only one arguing against us was our friend Josh.
Right, fill me in real quick.
So,
because I would love to hear this.
Well, so to take it all the way back, it started out with me asking how Spider-Man is able to use his sticky fingers through his gloves, and then somehow snowballed into, Superman's suit never gets destroyed. And I was like, oh, well, actually, I know, in comics why that is. And it's because his super body emits a special aura that protects his suit. It's not actually quite big enough to protect his cape, which is why his cape does get torn up a lot. But for the most part, his suit won't get hurt.
When he gets shot,
the bullets will bounce off his suit as well as his chest.
Also, they say something in John Burns where that is in there, but they say something about the suit being so tight to his muscles that it's almost like a skin. That, you know what I mean. So that's another.
Yeah, I mean, in the New 52, it's armor, so it's not even a question. But so relating it back, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the ooze not only transforms his body, but also transforms his aura, which is able to manipulate his suit and give him extra
blades.
And
okay, well, that's
make him basically Hulk
that's
out.
the definition of reaching for a conclusion. That's,
I mean,
good. That was well done, Chris.
yeah,
but
kind of just pulled it out of my ass right now too.
yeah.
All right, can you tell?
Yes.
Either that or Shredder knew he was going to do that and had a suit made that he hid out on the docks all along.
Yeah, I mean that kind of, I don't know. That it was just kind of like Maximum Shredder. It was like,
I have that action figure somewhere around
oh
here too.
nice. Yeah. It was I don't know. It was just the shittiest rendition of Shredder I think I'd ever seen. Almost.
Oh, sorry. You're back on the new Turtles,
Yeah,
right?
new
'Cause
Turtles.
I was about to say, sir,
I like
Shredder
Super
was
Shredder.
not the
Oh,
worst.
dude, I love fighting him in Turtles in Time.
It was a poorly thought out reveal, but yeah, I was about to argue with you hardcore that being the worst.
No, yeah. The honestly, he kind of reminded me of the Silver Samurai from the end of the Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
Just somehow worse.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, somehow.
Yeah. Who'd have thunk it?
Because he didn't have the well thought out rationale of I will steal Wolverine's bone marrow by breaking off his claws.
I remember watching that movie last summer with Jake and just being like, dude, is that Shredder? And then fast forward one summer later and we get their version of Shredder and it's even worse.
Yeah.
But wasn't it the same? Was it Ken Watanabe in both roles, or
no? It was Ken Watanabe in neither role.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I screw that up?
Because he's probably the most well-known Japanese actor in the United States these days.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did we recently see some? Oh, well, yeah, we saw Dark Knight Rises recently, and he was in that.
Well, he's in
Batman Begins.
Or
Batman
God,
Begins.
Oh, right, shit.
He's also in
God,
the...
You know what? I'm just going to stop talking.
He's in the 2014 Godzilla. Like, he's the scientist that's like, let them fight.
Yeah.
And then they fight. Remember how Splinter learns martial arts?
He's horrendous in the movie, by the way. Like the
Yeah.
look and when like that was for me. Like when he turns and reveals himself, that for me was when I was like, oh God, this is sucks.
It's pretty bad. He looked like a
It was horrible.
Yeah, like a.
I did not like his look whatsoever.
He looked like just like a piece of shit that's left over in like the 7-Eleven trash can.
Who did his voice
with the Fu Manchu?
Wasn't someone big doing his voice?
Yeah, I forgot. I remember. Hang on. Talk.
Yeah. So we got Johnny Knoxville as the lead turtle, and then like Alan Richardson. But yeah, so he learns martial arts from reading.
I will say their voice acting was probably the
oh yeah.
I liked hearing Johnny Knoxville be Leonardo DiCaprio being Leonardo.
It was nice seeing a
Jesus Christ.
seeing a movie with Johnny Knoxville where I didn't instantly know that it was Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
Or see his like testicles or butthole
get destroyed by like bulls.
I was really happy that he didn't just like look at the camera and be like, "Hi, I'm Leonardo. Welcome to Jackass."
I was actually waiting for that moment to happen. I did want that to happen.
I mean, I was already going for broke at that point, but
it probably would have helped the movie.
Yeah. Just like, there's so many things that, like, if Vanilla Ice had a cameo, that would have helped the movie. There's a turtle rap, but it's terrible because they're sitting in the elevator going up to the final boss battle with Shredder. And
Tony Shalhoub is Splinter, by the way.
Right, that's what it was.
Monk.
Yeah.
Monk himself is Splinter.
Shriner?
Both. Michelangelo just kind of starts awkwardly tapping his nunchucks. And then they all just bust out into this big beatbox session out of nowhere, and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah. Whatever, I like that part. I like that part more than the Vanilla Ice shit.
I will
Whoa!
say...
Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. Everyone, how the fuck do people... How are people okay with this? Like, everyone I've talked to is like, oh yeah, that Vanilla Ice shit in the end of Turtles is hilarious. And like, that for me is the Penguin giving the speech in front of penguins as Patton in Batman Returns moment where it's like, no. They
just happened to burst into a club where that Vanilla Ice is playing.
And then the rest of the movie takes place. No.
They fight. They just fight, and then they dance.
Sorry that Vanilla...
No. And then they get on stage.
Vanilla Ice is so cool under pressure that he can come up with a freestyle rap.
And already have
with
a dance number.
moves.
No. I'm not buying any
that
of
was
it.
like the best part about Turtles 2.
If that's the best part of... No.
It's a highlight.
No,
it's better than TURTLE Power.
What the shit is that from?
That's the turtle rap from the first movie. It plays. I don't know if it plays during the movie, but it plays in the credits, and it's just like TURTLE power.
See, if the Vanilla Ice rap was like in the credits when like you could turn off the movie or leave, that'd be one thing. Because the turtle rap in the first one is nowhere to be seen in the movie whatsoever. Anyway.
Yeah, the first movie, the music is really just.
See,
but the so they rap out of nowhere and it's fucking terrible, despite what Jake says.
I'd take it over Vanilla Ice any day.
Fun fact: because I follow Alan Richardson on social media, I was aware that scene was actually quote unquote improvised, because like that was like kind of what they would do to psych each other up before takes. Mm-hmm. They would just like sit there, because for the most part, I think one or two of them was recast, during production. But for the most part, I believe the voice actors were doing a lot of the motion capture stuff.
Yeah, certainly Alan Richardson.
Yeah, definitely Alan Richardson. But so like they would just kind of like to kind of psych themselves up, like they would start doing this like freestyle thing. And I know he has a slight singing career, and who knows, the other guys probably do too. So like they're kind of musically inclined, so that's what they do. And like so the apparently the director liked it so much that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw this in as a little fun gag, randomly somewhere in the movie while you guys are in an elevator.
And that's what happened, and it was terrible. But like, there's also to go back, Splinter learns martial arts from a fucking like basically like ninjutsu for dummies book left in the sewers of New York City, and so he gets like this Barnes and Noble level kung fu that he teaches to the turtles, and somehow they're able to like kick all kinds of ass against like fucking everybody.
Also, Sam and I were talking about this on the way home from the movie. There's a scene where it talks about like them like soaking in all the pop culture of the world, and that scene, it shows them watching the music video for the Gwen Stefani song
Bananas.
Holla Back Girl.
Or Holla Back Girl, yeah.
Also known as Bananas. Parentheses, Bananas. Like that's like that was their moment in time, and they're like, this will sum up pop culture.
That was their Turtles in time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, I saw this on Facebook and it kind of annoyed me, so let me go ahead and say this. Ninja Turtles 3 is not called Turtles in Time. Like, it's just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah.
It's Turtles in Time is the
video game, right?
It's the fourth video game, the second arcade game. I will say, and the best arcade game, best Turtles video game, in my opinion. And
oh shit! Sorry, I just forgot. I downloaded a Ninja Turtles game on Xbox 360 for like $5. It's like four-player co-op. I think it's based on the TMNT movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looked kind of cool. I like bought it after the movie because I was like, yeah.
It probably wasn't Turtles in Time or classic Turtles arcade, because that used to.
Oh no, definitely wasn't, because it's like somewhat, it's like actual like Xbox 360 graphics.
They had a game that came out around the TMNT, like the CGI movie.
It's that, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
kind of like Ultimate Alliance, but you could pick between the four turtles.
Yeah, that's all you get. Maybe Casey Jones.
That'd be
and
fucking
Deadpool
awesome.
Randomly.
Yeah. And you find Iron Man's armor and you become Iron Man.
But Iron Turtle.
Iron Turtle. Can I say something really quick that annoyed me about Facebook, just because we're like freestyling about stuff?
Sure.
I saw someone post this about. It was something about like the awkward moment when you realize Rocket Raccoon saves more people in Guardians than Superman did in Man of Steel. And I think what people are forgetting about that fucking movie, Man of Steel, is that he saves the world. He doesn't just save Metropolis. He saves billions and billions of people.
Yeah, Zod is out to kill everyone on the planet.
To terraform the entire planet. Basically pull a
So
Genesis.
that's not true. And like, I was also talking to somebody today. I was like, I can make fun of Man of Steel, but when someone makes fun of Man of Steel, like in my presence, I'm like John Lennon with the Beatles, where like John Lennon would rip the Beatles' new asshole, but then somebody would be like, yeah, the Beatles are stupid. He'd be like, fuck you, man. Like,
I earned the right to make fun
I feel protective of Man of Steel. It's dumb. But I saw that and I was like,
it's dumb, annoying. But you better not say that in my presence.
You better not say it in my presence.
It's sucker. It's not the worst Superman film. And
it's not Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Because you like it.
Even I would not say Superman Returns is the worst Superman.
Superman 3 is
Superman
the worst.
3.
Yeah.
I will defend Quest for Peace over Superman 3.
I'll take Quest for Peace over 3.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not saying that it's the even close to the best Christopher Reeve Superman movie. I'm just saying it goes 2, 1, 4, 3 in my opinion. Donner 2.
Donner 2, 1. Yeah, I would stick with it. I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
I think in the first movie, up until the I've got you, you've got me, who's got you thing, that's like in my opinion, granted dated special effects, a pretty perfect Superman movie.
Yeah, no.
After that, it kind of goes insane with the plot and everything.
As soon as you introduce Lex Luthor,
horrible.
Yeah.
I think Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. Now, granted, he does, probably wasn't like reading the comics, and he probably didn't really give a shit about it.
Role,
but like, well, it shows because it's horrible.
That's why it doesn't. They replaced him with Robert Vaughn as a new character in Superman
and Richard
3.
Pryor. Well, they replaced Otis with Richard Pryor.
Yeah, though I'm so happy when every time I watch Superman 2 and they leave Otis in the prison, it just warms the cockles of my heart.
Otisburg.
Yeah.
It's a nice place, Mr. Luthor.
Otisburg.
It's coming off. It was.
I can't wait for us to watch all the Superman.
But I do
together.
enjoy. I would say for me, I would say Superman 1.
Also,
is still my favorite Superman movie.
Now, also, Superman original theatrical or Superman 2000 remastered?
The cut, because you get the
gauntlet.
You get the gauntlet, which is like some of the coolest shit ever.
You get something else too.
Young Lois Lane in Smallville.
Yeah, Lois Lane, where she's like, on the train and she sees Superman.
No,
that's in the cut.
But there was some. I just listened to the Fat Man on Batman. I think I've referenced Fat Man on Batman
more than Kevin Smith has referenced Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah. Those are two editions we know for sure.
But
Gauntlet being the best. Like that's
I want to say
it's not in the original.
I want to say they talked about something else when he had who was it, Jeff Johns?
Yeah.
It was like the Gauntlet and then something else that was like real big things that they added. Anyway, we're all in agreement. It's the 2000 cut.
Yes.
Oh, superior, sure.
Yes.
It is superior.
Did you know that Brando wanted to be a bagel, like a talking bagel?
Oh my god! Because he's like, hey, they're aliens. We don't know what they look like.
And
yes, we do because
Richard,
we have Superman.
Richard Donner was like, there's fucking comic books,
Since
showing Jor-El.
1938.
Ding-a-ling.
Yeah.
You Oscar-winning ding-a-ling.
You overpaid somehow.
Diaper reading.
Diaper reading?
Yeah, he read his the famous "My Thon" speech off of Kal-El's diaper.
Yeah,
he didn't memorize the lines.
He refused to memorize lines. He would have cue cards or.
I keep hearing these horror stories about how terrible it was to work with Marlon Brando, especially like after. I want to say like after The Godfather, like he was just like,
I feel like the last movie where he gave a shit was The Last Tango in Paris.
Yeah. Apparently, like Island of Dr. Moreau was.
If that's giving a shit, I don't know, man. that's a fucking heavy, weird movie.
Yeah,
never look at Butter the same.
Well, it's Bertolucci, who's kind of. If we're talking like Michael Bay, maybe being kind of creepy with his movies, like when it comes to like girls getting hit on that are like clearly underage or whatever, or just objectified as much as possible, then fucking Bertolucci. Jeez, that man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Just read some stuff about him. And
to be fair, because everyone's talking about. This podcast is going all over the place, but
why not?
I mean, it doesn't matter.
That or I continue to. If you want, I can jump back and.
Well, we will. We're gonna jump. We're gonna jump back in on that. But everyone was like, when Joaquin Phoenix kind of went off and like decimated the Oscars about how stupid they are, and that he'll never get nominated again. And it's like, well, Brando refused an Oscar for The Godfather and got nominated again for Last Tango in Paris. So that doesn't necessarily like mean that they're done.
You know who's the man that presented?
Yes.
I don't.
Mr. Roger Moore.
Yeah, Roger Moore presented Brando the Academy Award. He refused.
It's funny, like out of all like the Roger Moore, like the Bond movies I love and stuff, and just him as a person, like reading his biography and stuff. I would probably the first thing I'd probably ask him about was how fucking awkward was that? You know what I mean? Like
at the Oscars, you're presenting Best Actor, and Marlon Brando refuses.
And a Native American woman comes up and talks about how Hollywood shits on Indians.
Yeah. That's why Brando.
I mean, to be fair, they do.
Yeah. I mean, but the whole thing was like, that's probably. I mean, I just wish I knew what was going through.
Yeah, if that was a live broadcast,
Sir Roger Moore's brain.
Yeah. Oh, awkward. But yeah. Also, just to touch on Ninja Turtles, I think one last time because I feel like I've shit on that enough. But one last parting shot. So apparently they're bulletproof now.
Yeah. Oh, that one scene is like,
I'm bulletproof.
And it's like bouncing off,
Yeah.
and it's just like
I want to say when like Raph turned around, like there were bullets embedded in his like belly shell.
Yeah.
That were just like bing bing.
Oh
bing,
no,
bing,
that was
shooting
absolutely
out.
happening. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my. Okay, so I wasn't hallucinating. The
No.
drugs hadn't kicked in yet.
No, not at that point.
No. Sam, do you have anything positive to say about the movie? Like, is there a scene that you enjoyed?
Well, I mean, the lighting was so that you could see everything.
Fuck the lighting with all the lens flare. Okay, like it looked like it was like also produced by J.J. Abrams with all that fucking lens flare.
I said positive.
He brought it up. The
I mean, you could see everything.
Yeah, it was again. It was closer to the cartoon. That's as much as I'll give it. That's all I'll give it.
You like seeing the turtle van in the end?
No.
Okay.
It was there, but no.
Yeah, I've just never seen Sam so affected by a movie.
I know. So people remember a couple episodes ago when I was shitting on Grant Morrison, and Sam got so emotional about Grant Morrison.
Did I get emotional?
I don't remember Sam getting that emotional.
I
remember him going. Like I remember that.
I'm sorry, not maybe emotional wasn't the right word, but like he got affected by it and like and was very vocal about like trying to convince me otherwise.
I got defensive.
Yeah,
I stepped in the defense.
Maybe that's what
of Mr. Morrison.
But I felt like yeah, you got like very excited about that. Nowhere near how you reacted to Turtles.
I mean,
I think Grant Morrison was the most excited I've ever seen you about something in terms of like, oh, I've got to re-educate people.
Yeah.
I got to defend.
Let me
something.
chime in.
Yeah, and then Turtles took it to a whole new level about how you were like, I need to shit on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like it's my warning to you guys. Like, if you grew up loving the Ninja Turtles, you know, I would say it's a Turtles movie for a new generation, but nobody in the theater really reacted, did they?
No, I mean, I thought you were going to vomit on the way home when we were driving. I just thought you were just going to start puking everywhere.
Sam and I ended up going to a bar afterwards, and his migraine had gotten so severe that he was going around asking people if they had like headache, painkillers and headache shit. And one of the hostess, who's a good friend of ours, brought over like clinical strength, Excedrin or something like that. Yeah.
Excedrin migraine.
Yeah, and you were like it was so potent that you were like, I don't think I can drink tonight.
And I didn't.
Yeah. You were like, I don't want to die. I don't want to be like Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Too soon? No.
I don't want to be like Marilyn Monroe.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. Bruce Lee. I think that is what killed Bruce Lee. He has
Excedrin.
Well, he had a headache like aspirin. Because he had.
Human.
Sam is frozen.
It's gonna sound like fucking bananas when you get.
You're mentioning bananas when I'm doing a Planet of the Apes thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What? They're literal apes in the fucking movie.
And orangutan.
What do you? Orangutans are part of the great ape family.
By the way, it's still my favorite movie of the year.
I'm going to go ahead and let everyone in on a little secret that I only got like 2 hours of sleep last night, and earlier today, like I would like stand up and start stumbling over myself. Like I don't like I was out of it for the first half of the day today, and like I'm still really
Loopy
not
a
all
bit.
there. Yeah, like I'm kind of like I was telling Jake before you got to the restaurant where we ate before we started recording. I almost like called one of you guys and asked to drive me there because I was so like kind of
spun out.
Yeah, I was like,
And
I don't
we
know
would
if I
have
should
gladly driven you, Chris.
Yeah, but
Drive responsibly.
I didn't want to burden anyone.
Sam, you said that was such like a.
I have started watching Sex in the City. Oh wow! Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could make fun of you for that, but
I mean, I've seen the second movie, so I can't say shit.
Yeah, I mean, the thought process behind it is I wanted to see the two shows that really are the ones that put HBO on the map, I feel, in terms of television anyway.
How many seasons did that run for?
Sex in the City?
Yes.
Oh, fuck, I don't know, 5 or 6. Sopranos ran for 6. I'm watching Sopranos as well.
I started Breaking Bad.
Yeah, which is... Did you... Because you saw him beat True Detective at the...
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. It was funny, my mom, who has never seen an episode of either, but she is in love with Matthew McConaughey, so much so that whenever... I watched maybe the last hour and a half with her, and whenever they would show him, and they'd show him frequently because, he's one, Matthew McConaughey, and 2, he was nominated for stuff. She'd go, "That's my kind of man." And I was like, all right, Mom, yeah, chill out. It was kind of sweet, though. But she was so mad that he didn't win, even though she has never seen an episode of True Detective or Breaking Bad. She just loves McConaughey so much. And also, I don't know, she'd probably be freaked out during True Detective.
She'd freak out during either, to be fair.
Well, it's true. I mean, she freaked out when the skeleton showed up in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, so she'd be well in trouble.
Skeleton? That's like 15, 20 minutes in.
No. Like in the end when they're like under the ship and they're all like in the skeleton, the skeleton form, and
yeah, but they're in skeleton form when they attack.
For some reason, it was the end when they freaked her out.
Seeing them walk through moonlight and transitioning to skeleton,
yeah.
wasn't
I was like, yeah, Mom, you know what?
Underwater skeleton.
Continue to love
on skeleton.
Continue to love
maximum skeleton.
Continue to love Failure to Launch Matthew McConaughey, because I remember I bought her that for Christmas one time. Anyway,
and she loved it.
She did. And
Ghost
I've seen him.
I've
seen it multiple times.
This is gonna be like you, Jake. You're gonna live with me.
Yeah, not anymore, Mom. Anyway, so yeah, I was bummed, but I mean, I wasn't like fuck you, Bryan Cranston. I've heard only good things about Breaking Bad, and he's astounding. He's supposed to be really great in it. But for me personally, the only one I had seen was True Detective. I still think, and granted, I'm only on like episode 6 of Breaking Bad, but for all the TV I've ever watched, I've never seen a performance like the Matthew McConaughey performance in that short amount of time. To give a performance like that, unreal. Like, still to this day, no TV performance has come close to Matthew McConaughey in True Detective. But I understood why.
It's 8 episodes?
8 episodes, and he's just astounding. Like, home run every single time.
All eyes on him every time.
He is so good. And Cranston is like that so far. But granted, there's a lot more to work with, and I'm only very near the beginning of it. But when I was watching it,
you're still in season 1?
Yeah, I'm on. I think it's episode 6 where he goes full Heisenberg. He shaves his head and he goes, "This isn't crystal meth," and blows up the thing. That part was fucking awesome.
That ain't full Heisenberg.
Well, I mean, not full Heisenberg, but he looks more like he shaves his head and he goes by Heisenberg. Like the first time he drops the name Heisenberg. Yeah, not full on Heisenberg. He's like, not He's
like 75% Heisenberg.
Yeah, quarter chub Heisenberg, and
6 to 9 Heisenberg,
and it's 6 to 9 Heisenberg. And the name of the podcast, this episode, 6 to 9 Heisenberg, or quarter chub.
It was either
Heisenberg.
I was just gonna call it Sam Stone's Auditory Revenge, but yeah, I think 6 to 9 Heisenberg probably fits better.
Anyway, oh, well, I also Aaron Paul, I'd have to say, is my favorite character so far.
Oh, Jesse Pinkman. Sure.
Jesse Pinkman. It's funny because I want to see Jesse Pinkman and Stephen Holder live together. Stephen Holder from The Killing, played by Joel Kinnaman. They're basically the same person. Like, they're, yo, what's up, man? Like, their attitude, except one's a cop and one is a meth dealer. But
season 2 Jesse.
But Holder deals with
by the end of season 2, your heart's gonna break for Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm already waiting for so much shit to happen, and luckily, and Chris and I were talking about this. I made it at a point not to be on social media when the finale aired because I didn't want to know what happened because I knew I was eventually going to watch the series. And this is one of the few shows I think Chris and I were talking about. Like, people don't spoil the end of Breaking Bad, and I think a lot of it is because it's such a well received and loved show that people don't want to ruin it for everyone else. There's other shows they'll spoil on an accident here or there, but
Game of Thrones,
Lost. Whenever, which they make a reference in Turtles, but they don't. The only thing they'll say about the last episode is, it's amazing, and so it's kind of cool. Like, I'm able to watch it, and I know certain spoilers of the show, which I'm not super bummed about. Also,
I feel like True Detective was like that too. Like I still haven't watched True Detective.
Well, it's hard to even
really
spoil the end of True Detective because like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But that's a great ending. I remember people so many people on Facebook were like, quit after episode 4, blah, 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 blah. And episode 4, which won an Emmy, which I was happy about.
Did take that Emmy over the season finale of or series finale of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and
which wasn't the best episode in that season.
And the second to last episode is what beat the finale for writing, which I thought was funny too. Anyway, episode 4 was great, but I think the best part of episode 4 of True Detective is that one long shot.
It's the cinematography.
Yeah, but honestly, thinking back, like episode 4's okay before that moment. For me, I actually liked the second half of it, and the ending was so great. Like I don't know if maybe people were kind of telling me it wasn't very good, like set up this whole idea that it was going to suck, but I love the end of True Detective.
I think the big conceit of True Detective is it isn't about necessarily solving the mystery per se.
The mystery technically. Well, yeah, because I remember
those characters.
Yeah, exactly, it is, which is very interesting about a show. One called True Detective, and two, it's people would say it's a who didn't know would think it's about just two detectives trying to solve a murder.
It's a character study,
and honestly, I think we talked about this a little bit, and when we finished it, or when I finished it first, and Sam watched it a second time with me. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is more of a character study in this. The relationship between Maximum Harrelson and Maximum McConaughey, like.
Maximum Detective.
The two of them at the Emmys, like dressed up like Night at the Roxbury style, was like amazing.
The heartbeat of True Detective isn't solving the murder. It's this dynamic between these two men over the course of 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the heartbeat of Breaking Bad. If I had to define it, it's you're watching a good man become bad. Here's something I don't think it spoils too much. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not.
You'll hear if I scream in rage.
Yeah. You find out in the season 5 finale that seasons 1 through 4 all take place over the course of a year,
mm-hmm.
which I always thought was kind of. It always felt like Walt goes the path that Walt takes. He takes too quickly for a year, to unfold over the course of a year,
mm-hmm.
like that kind of character progression. But it really is the story of.
Well, someone yesterday on Twitter, it's funny when I sent out a tweet or Facebook thing, I was like starting Breaking Bad, and it was like so much like people go, oh my god, you're gonna fucking go crazy, and someone just set it up as it's the deconstruction of a man's soul is basically Breaking Bad, and I know that, like I know we're gonna get to the Scarface shit, and already I know it's gonna like break my heart because early in the series, like first couple episodes, he's like a very good-hearted man, even though granted, he kills somebody early on. But like, I know that when that moment happens, where
at this point he must have killed like 2 different dudes.
Let's see, he's
one dude with poison fumes, and
poison fumes, and he strangled the other guy. But like, he's such a good person early on, and also I didn't realize how funny the show is.
There's a dark sense of humor,
a very dark sense of humor. And then what's the name of the DEA agent? His brother-in-law,
Hank Schrader.
He's fucking hilarious. Like
Hank is one of my favorite characters in the entire show.
I like him a lot. Like they have like the intervention about him doing his treatment, and like he waits for Walt to get home, and as soon as he does, he like opens the tray of cheese and starts eating it and eating grapes. And he starts, anybody else? No, okay. And he just keeps eating cheese and stuff. Like
Hank becomes a much more complex character as the series goes on. I love Hank. But yeah, some people say that Breaking Bad is about a good man turning bad. I think it's about someone really kind of showing their true colors. That would explain why he takes to it so quickly. And we'll talk about it more as you progress through the series, all 5 seasons of it.
Well, the first season's a short season, right? Because
like 7 episodes or so.
Because they were saying they were planning on killing Jesse.
There's somebody that's killed at the end of season 1, and that was originally supposed to be Jesse, and he was supposed to carry his baggage for the rest of the series was supposed to be the guilt of Jesse Pinkman's death for dragging him into this world and inadvertently getting him killed. And then what's his name? Vince Gilligan had loved Aaron Paul's performances so early on that during the writer's strike, he was just kind of sitting there thinking, he's like, let's let's keep it going. Let's keep him. Let's kind of make him like
which probably only made the show better.
Oh yeah, he's like Walt's surrogate son. Chris, you've watched it all, right?
Yeah, I and actually following Jesse's progression was probably one of the things that actually kept me watching it more than following Walt's progression. And Hank is definitely like he's an interesting character to start, but he becomes such a great character through the rest of his involvement in the show. Yeah, it's good.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely balls to the wall for Breaking Bad.
And I'm definitely watching Sex in the City. I'm like,
my new show is kind of I recently started watching Batman Brave and the Bold. More so, it would have been better for me to have brought it up last episode, but I don't think we had time.
Well, you had only started the series. I remember walking in, like you're watching like the first 2 episodes or so.
I guess so. Yeah. So now, like I've kind of bounced around because like I've been in a weird mood where I'm just kind of like marathoning a show has been rougher for me recently for some reason. So I just kind of started bouncing around, and I'm like, I watched the last episode because I heard that was really good, and it was. Mm-hmm. It was one of those cute, very self-aware episodes.
Anytime Batman shows up, voiced by Pee Wee Herman.
But yeah, it was a cute thing. And then I bounced around, watched a couple other episodes, and it's really good. For what it is, like if you can get in the mood to be watching a Silver Age Batman story, which is Batman smiles, Batman makes jokes.
Did you watch the Zero-Hour episode yet?
No, I haven't found that one yet.
Voiced by Kevin Conroy?
Yeah. That's what
I did the same thing, Chris. I listened to the Fat Man of Batman episode.
Yeah, with Deirdre Bader.
Who voices Batman. Mm-hmm. And I actually watched that episode, the final episode, because they were getting all teary about it. And it is a really sweet moment, too. Yeah. But then there's some heavy stuff, like he meets Joe Chill in it. And then
who in this universe is who killed his parents, I assume?
Yes.
Since it's not consistent.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. And then I would bounce around by episodes with characters I wanted to see. So, like, I watched the Captain Marvel Shazam one where...
Did you watch the Space Ghost episode?
No, I actually didn't. But Tara Strong voices Billy Batson.
Yeah.
But so I watched the Shazam episodes, Captain Marvel. And there's some cold openings that are cool.
There's the Booster Gold episode, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a Booster Gold episode.
Yeah, I like
shows
Booster.
up a couple times.
Excuse me, I like Booster.
He's all right. I mean, it's the same story every time.
Know what voice I did there, but
yeah, it's the same. Like nobody saw Booster do good. Like and he learns what it means to be a hero. It's like every story with Booster Gold ever.
That's the same thing with Plastic Man.
More or less, except Plastic Man's always kind of fighting that criminal element of, whereas Booster Gold is the showboater that only does good when he's not showboating. He's just like, fuck it. Mm-hmm. And then that's when he actually makes a difference.
I mean, the JLU episode and the Smallville episode are almost the exact same. Like the same exact thing happens. I mean, not exactly, but I mean the same story and lesson is learned. Yeah. Like the whole Justice League isn't there or whatever.
But Billy West plays Skeets.
The little robot.
Yeah.
Billy West, Fry from Futurama.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Invader Zim from the pilot episode of Invader Zim.
Oh, really?
And the Honey Nut Cheerios bee.
Yeah.
Isn't he also in an M&M?
Probably, yeah.
I think he's the red M&M.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I know all about him.
I know Billy West. Shit.
Yeah, don't you know I've been following him since ever since he started being a red M&M.
Wow.
Back in the day.
He's been a red M&M for like 15 years now.
Has he really?
It's been a while. If you think about how long those M&M's commercials...
It does exist.
They do exist.
It's an old commercial and they still play it.
Yeah, they do
every Christmas, but every Thanksgiving. Not actually Thanksgiving.
I don't know. Let that one slide.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved if I ever had to write a Batman book, if DC Comics was ever like, Sam, we like you out of nowhere, you should write...
like Stallone for Expendables 3 at New York Comic Con?
Yeah, you want to explain that story after I'm done?
I did last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. I did.
Yeah. But the what's it? Fuck. What was I talking about?
You writing
DC
for DC Comics.
Right. I would love to write if I had to write Batman, I would make it
if you were forced to write Batman.
Yeah, they were like, you can write for us, but you can only write fucking Batman. I would make it a team up book, not unlike The Brave and the Bold. It would be my excuse to play with. If I wanted to write a haunted tank story, fuck, I'd team him up with Batman, Sergeant Rock, Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters,
Hawk and Dove. You would love to have Hawk and Dove in there too. Wouldn't you?
I don't actually think Hawk and Dove show up in Brave and the Bold. Now
That's not what he asked.
Well, I'm saying you would love to write a Hawk and Dove.
I could write a short Hawk and like a.
Hi, I'm Hawk. Hi, I'm Dove. Nah, the end.
It'd be one arc. Like I could write Batman Forever.
Ha ha ha.
But I could write.
I could write Batman and Robin.
If
I probably could.
Yeah.
I'm that bad of a writer.
Just all the ice puns, and then you're set, man.
I'm really good at puns.
Just imagine.
Did I tell you my skeletonesis story? No, I don't think I did.
Huh? No.
I just gave away the punchline, which sucks. So you know those popsicle sticks that have the question, and then you eat the popsicle stick, and there's a punchline, and they're usually really bad because they're made for little kids. My friend was eating one a little while ago, and the question was, how do skeletons communicate? And, I out of nowhere, I just had an explosion of inspiration, and within 2 seconds, I was like, skeletonesis, because telekinesis and
hydrokinesis.
Yeah, and pyrokinesis. So I did really funny wordplay, and everyone was there was 10 of us around, and everyone was like, "Damn, that was really fucking clever." And then it turns out that the answer is with their cell bone, and we were all like, "Skeletonesis was so much better."
Yeah, but little kids wouldn't know what that meant.
No, it would make no sense. As soon as I said it, I knew it wasn't the answer because it's way too
highbrow.
Yeah, because I'm so smart.
Take that,
popsicles. That, kids, popsicles.
Take that, popsicles.
But yeah, man. So you're in for a treat, and Billy West is red M&Ms.
If I know anything about Breaking Bad, it's that Billy West is the red.
Is a red M&M.
Yeah, but both Batman Brave and the Bold and Breaking Bad, both entirely different shows. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you guys are both starting some really cool stuff.
And you're starting a show too.
Yeah, I'm 5.
You're in for a treat too.
Yeah, and then I'm going to watch the movies afterwards just to complete the set. I don't know if I'm that sold yet, guys.
I think even the fans hated too.
The big thing is Sex and the City is such a cultural hallmark, so many people know about Sex and the City. I was like, fuck it, I will find out about. I'm sure you guys have watched The Notebook, right?
Yes.
No.
Oh, well, I'm sure you guys have seen Twilight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So those were big
because I had a girlfriend at the time.
So did I,
and
I didn't. I watched it anyway.
You were totally Team Jacob, weren't you?
No, I was Team Bella. All the way.
I was Team Tyler's van. The kid that almost hit her with the van that would have crushed her.
Who?
Implying that I wanted her to die.
Yeah.
No, we get it. We get it. It's dumb.
Michael Sheen shows up in that movie. He's the lead vampire.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you like Michael Sheen. He's the best part of Tron Legacy, probably.
The Daft Punk cameo.
Oh.
Which happens during that.
Right.
I like the I fight for the users.
Yeah, you
wait. Michael Sheen is in
part
the Doctor, or what?
In Tron Legacy? No, he's
no. I'm talking about Twilight.
No, Michael Sheen is the leader of the Volturi.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's not Twilight. That's New Moon.
So in Tron Legacy, I remember the first time I watched it. I got oddly emotional during the I fight for the users, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I always
get emotional. Oh man, let's air it all out. I always get emotional when when
you're watching Twilight.
Yes, when at the end of Tron Legacy, when Clue is confronting Flynn, and he's like, I did everything you asked. Like, I was, one of your greatest creations. And he's like, yeah, you were. Like, it's kind of like that, almost like a twisted father-son moment where he's like, look, everything is perfect, but it can't be perfect at the same time. That's the paradox. And he's like, Clue can't.
We should do commentary for that.
I would love to do both Tron films.
Yeah.
Typical Sam can't handle a father-son moment in a movie.
Typical Chris is a huge ass.
I mean,
check my levels on that one.
It's terrible. It probably clipped and distorted, and everyone's probably stopped not listening anymore. You're one of the worst people to like keep track of the levels with because almost every time you sit back when you're not talking, and almost every time you I have to say something, you get right up in the microphone and you're really loud for like a second, and then you're like, oh, and then I'm talking like this quietly. So I'm like, fuck. So you never give me enough time to lower the volume and then bring it back up once you're done, and you just fluctuate so much. I'm like, what?
But I'm sure I'm getting your attention, aren't I, guys?
Yeah.
Hit me at Twitter at Sam Stoneship.
Sam's Twitter is flooded with "You fucking suck.
You always pop the mics.
You were right. Chris is a terrible racist on this show for some reason." Because that's what you guys have been saying all episode. I'm really not that bad in real life. I just say stupid things when I have a mic in front of me.
And just pawn it off on the dude.
Right. I honestly thought it was
That's
you.
the real... Forget the racism.
Oh, my terrible memory is the problem.
Pawning it off on me. All right. So, yeah, I think we've come full circle. I think that's a good shipping off point.
Yeah. I did want to make sure that everyone was aware. Starting this week, we have a new feature on the show. Not on this podcast specifically, but through the same RSS feed, iTunes, whatever. You don't have to subscribe to a different show to get this. But as this episode came out on Wednesday, you should have noticed that on Monday, an extra episode went live that looked a little different. We have started posting commentaries as well. So if people are into that, watching movies and hearing people rudely talk over them, we are experimenting with that option as well. We have a whole bunch in the can that we're getting ready to release. The first one that released this Monday was the ever celebrated and universally loved Super Mario Brothers movie, starring.
I don't know why Sam's laughing so hard.
No, either.
That made me
really
laugh because Sam was
me.
like silent, like
not only
like he was bouncing.
He was like visually like kind of like giggling under his breath.
Yeah,
but his shoulders were also bobbing up and down.
I was holding
the entire time that I was giving this intro. It's the Super Mario Brothers movie starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For a second there, I had a brain fart and thought that I screwed up his name.
As
Ken
well Watanabe was in the movie.
The only Japanese character.
I'm not going to say anything. To be fair, there were Japanese characters at the end of the movie,
which you didn't know existed.
I did not, and I'm so excited. I have a rejuvenated love for that movie just because there was
Super Mario Bros. Rebirth.
Yeah. Ugh, that sounds terrible.
That's what they call the reboot. Yeah, check the space, man. Every week we're gonna have a commentary for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be just like watching a movie with us, completely and totally fucking stupid, but entertaining.
Yeah. and us just it's almost like having an extra episode of our catching up, but also having a movie playing along at the same time. So every once in a while we make a comment about the movie, like how one of my ex-girlfriends married a guy that looks just like one of the henchmen in Super Mario Brothers.
Was it Spike or Iggy?
I think it's Iggy. I get the two confused because they're basically like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Which was the one who was in Platoon? I was in Platoon.
I don't know, but that's the one. That's the one that she married.
Well done.
A guy that looks like
I was in Full Metal Jacket.
A guy who right now looks like that guy looked in Super Mario Brothers.
Right on.
93.
Right on.
But yeah, so it's been another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana. I don't know if you do have a catchphrase. You might.